Always great catching up with my next guest. Tanner Boser is going to be back in action this Saturday in a new weight class, UFC Kansas City taking on Ion Cutelaba. Tanner, how are you this evening?
I'm doing well, man. How are you doing?
Doing awesome. Tanner, we've been doing interviews for I don't know how long. I never thought we'd see this day where we're talking about a light heavyweight fight for you. Tell me when this was something that you were thinking about in terms of you dropping down to 205.
After my last fight, I just decided, I think I can do it. Probably not even going to be too difficult. And just thought about it out of the blue, completely original idea, and decided to give it a shot.
How was it? Like, when was that process starting for you to get down? Like, was it like months ago? Like, when did you, because obviously you made the decision. When did you actually decide, okay, now we're going to try doing this?
After Christmas.
Oh, wow.
It started in January. Yeah.
Interesting. Because I was going to say, I saw a photo of you the other day, man. Looks like everything's going A-okay. What has it been like to get down to this weight class? Has it been much of a process, or how has it been for you?
Oh, yeah. It's been a process to steadily drop weight. That doesn't happen instantly to just like actually lose weight. But it hasn't been that miserable or anything. Been pretty good. Just had to be disciplined with it. But yeah, so it's went well.
Is it mainly diet or is it conditioning? Like, how have you sort of been able to get the weight down?
Both, but I would say the weight change is largely due to diet. I always train hard. I've been training, I guess, a bit more, maybe a little more volume, a little more cardio volume earlier on in the camp, but largely just diet.
Okay. And are you working with anyone to do this, or is this something you're just doing on your own?
Well, my coach Jeff Montemiro does my strength and conditioning, but the diet thing is just I'm just doing it.
Oh, good for you. Okay, well, that's cool. Was this the right amount of time off then, just with the fact you were changing weight classes and everything else, or would you have liked to have fought a little bit sooner than this?
I timed it the way I timed it on purpose. I could have fought sooner, but this works perfectly fine.
Yeah, and a fun opponent, man. Kutilaba, obviously a guy who's known for getting in these wild fights. Stylistically, how are you looking at this one with you and him?
I think it's going to be mayhem. I think that me and Kutilaba, there's no way that this fight is anything but fireworks from start to finish, and I think someone's going to be out cold.
And what do you make of the fact as well that he's coming off a few losses? Like, he's got, I mean, he's basically saving.
Dude, people only the people who don't actually see what's happening in there go off of that. Oh, he's
Right.
coming off a few losses. He hurt every one of those guys and nearly finished every single one of them. He is a dangerous fucking guy. He hurt everybody. Everybody he ever fought, except for Ankalaev, he hurt.
For sure. No, I was actually going the other way with this. I was going to say that because of the fact he's had a few losses, are you expecting him to really sort of go for broke here and try and get a win? The Johnny Walker fight's a prime example, actually, because I thought he was in control of that fight, and then it was Walker who was able to reverse him and get the submission win.
Right.
If anything, he's been fighting the who's who in that weight class. Like you mentioned, Ankalaev twice. Ankalaev's only lost one time in your weight class.
Yeah. No, I think he's a very good opponent. I think he's really, really skilled. I think this fight is chaotic in that we're both not on a good run right now. But
yeah, that was what I was getting at. To be fair, just so I'm not going to be the guy to sit here and say he's a bad opponent by any means. So
no, but I think that the loser conceivably could get cut, maybe not, and the winner could get a top 15 guy, and that's how fucked up this is.
It's true. Yeah, no, the timing's definitely, interesting with everything sort of coming together here with the two of you fighting. Now with camp, has there been anything different, or is it just business as usual? Same guys over at Shaved Bears? Anything different there?
Same guys. Like I said, I've added some training and focused on some aspects of my game fairly diligently, but it's the usual suspects in terms of my training partners.
Okay. And did it help as well? We just had the unified card. I mean, a lot of guys were getting ready. I know KB had his fight, obviously on that unified 50 card. Does that help a bit just because you're kind of fighting around the same time?
Yeah, I trained with KB for this camp, mostly kickboxing, I suppose, with KB. But, I had Graham Park and my coaches, Jeff Montemiro and Roger Alves helped me tons with my wrestling. And, Kedro Noda, my striking coach. Yeah, but just Graham and Big Chris. You saw Jake's pro debut. He's a good training partner. Sterling, Spencer Jebb. Man, I've got a lot of good training partners. Mike Newton helped me lots this camp as well. It's been good.
Has the training been different being in the new weight class, or do you train exactly the same? Like, I know obviously you mentioned the dieting and the strength and conditioning is different, but in terms of like actual martial arts training, has there been any difference there?
Well, difference in focusing on certain things, but it doesn't have to do with the fact I'm in a different weight class. It has to do with the fact that I needed to work on some things, and also I have to be obviously planning for what Kutilaba might likely try.
Absolutely. It's Sunday night. Obviously, fights on Saturday. How is the cut going? How close are you to 205?
Good. Cut's not going to be an issue.
There we go. Wouldn't expect anything different. When are you heading out to Kansas City?
Tuesday morning.
Okay, that's good. And did you get to enjoy Easter today, or is it one of those things you'll kind of enjoy it after the fact?
No, my family came down to have a quick visit with me before I leave. It's really nice. I ate pretty good today. Just made some like bison kind of bowls.
Oh, cool.
Potatoes and ground bison, bunch of veggies and stuff. And yesterday I was at my dad's for a Thanksgiving meal, and I ate a bunch of turkey and potatoes. So it's still all good, man.
I think we talked about this last time, but I know you like getting a lot of really like high quality meat because there's a lot of obviously farms and stuff around you. So you're getting like really good quality, portions and good quality meat and stuff, as opposed to like, the stuff you get at Walmart.
Yeah. The main meat I ate this entire training camp was deer. I got 2 deer last season, and I'm almost out now, but I've been eating a lot of deer meat, and it's definitely helping.
That's good. Just put it in like a big freezer and then sort of thaw it out and have it like every week type thing?
Yeah, just slow cooker roast or whatever and have it for a few days.
That's awesome, man. Your corner, anything different there, or same corner for this fight?
Jeff Montemuro, Roger Alves, and KB Buller.
I don't imagine this fight's hitting the scorecards. How do you see this one playing out on April 15th?
Someone's going down in this fight, and obviously I got to say it's him. He's going to say the exact same thing, but this fight's going to be nuts.
Yeah, mayhem, as you said. I agree with that. Speaking of fights that were nuts, did you happen to catch the fights last night? If so, what did you think of Israel and Adesanya knocking out Pereira?
Wild comeback, not just in the fight, but in terms of comeback of not like a comeback in his career. The guy's been on top for so long, but a comeback against an arch nemesis, a guy that was up 3-0 on him, right? That's huge. Can't even imagine the feeling that he had there.
We were talking before we set up this interview. Obviously, we just found out on Friday it was down between Calgary and Vancouver. Vancouver ends up getting the next UFC card. I know you're not looking past Saturday, but would it be kind of cool for you to be able to fight in Vancouver? Still pretty close to home, right?
It's really close to home. Besides being in Edmonton, where I live, or Calgary, the next closest big city, then Vancouver's as close as it can be. It's a short flight. It's like an hour. That would be awesome. You're right. I'm not looking past it. I'm willing to sacrifice every single part of my body in this fight. I don't care what happens to me. If I can win and die, I will pick that. I don't give a fuck. Okay. But if I get out of this fight somehow in a best case scenario effort, and I'm not horribly injured, then I will be on that card. There's no way I'm not. Yeah. But again, I would rather break every bone in my body in this fight in a winning effort than get out of it safely and fight in Vancouver.
Yeah, no, I hear you. We actually, first time I ever met you was not in Vancouver, but in Penticton for that. Which card was that? Was that XFFC? I think it was. In
Penticton, was it?
Yeah, remember at the Denny's? You and I had breakfast together.
No, I remember. I just don't remember what card it was. I was there cornering Jeff Porter.
That's right,
but I don't remember. Was it BFL maybe?
Oh, here we go. XFFC 18, July 21st, 2018. Dwyer and Steele. You're right. Tom O'Connor was on that card too.
Yeah.
So there we go. Okay. Anyways, yeah, I was just wondering about that. But I was going to say, have you been to Vancouver before? I was always wondering that.
Oh, yeah. I was there many years ago. I was there for a few weeks training with Arjun Buller.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Ages ago. Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. That's good. We were talking off air about you wearing that tap out shirt. Of course, I know it's pretty, I think, widely known within the community. You're part of that meme.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Well, no, I wanted to, I don't think we've talked about that, but like, what's the story behind that? It was like a fan thing or what, like, how did that thing become a thing?
the
Yeah.
meme that I was in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've told this story, but what happened was, when UFC very first came to Calgary, me and my brother and one of our friends were in line it was like a meet and greet thing with Thiago Alves and Wanderlei.
Hmm.
And they would sign something and take a picture with you. So we had one pair of UFC gloves that we wanted one signed by each guy. And the UFC photographers came by and were like taking pictures. And like, hey, kids look tough. And they told us to like put on a glove. So me and my friend here, each have a glove on, or me and my brother each have a glove on or something. And we try our best to look tough, but we're just chubby kids. And then somebody must have delved into the UFC Fan Expo archive and found that picture and then memed it. That's what happened there.
Okay, gotcha. I mean, that's I think something kind of interesting, right? Like I would have not actually, because obviously you have the facial hair now. I almost didn't even recognize you in that photo.
Well,
right?
no, but when it did come out when somebody memed that, like that's the thing, they would have had to be looking in some old places, because when that meme surfaced or started making the rounds, it was years later, because I was like, I don't know, 5 or 6-0 kind of thing when that meme first came out, maybe 4-0, but like I remember it and it pissed me off a lot back then. Now I don't care.
Yeah, you should embrace it. I mean, it's
Yes,
more exposure.
like you should embrace it to an extent, but
Right.
still fuck those people. I remember.
Right. I know
Like,
what you mean. Yeah.
It's fans. I was a fan of it's every fan of every sport has to be a fucking elite looking athlete. Then there's not a whole lot of fans left. You know what I mean? Like, what are you talking about?
Hey, there's probably photos of me surfaced somewhere on the internet of doing that exact same. You know what I mean? Like we all did it, right? Like it was just
Sure.
a thing.
Look, I realize how he looked in that picture. It looks hilarious.
Yeah.
Like it is funny. If you don't know the story behind it, be like, look at these douchebags. You know what I mean? Like these stupid kids. It's all right. It was just like the memes that happened. I remember, again, I have a good starting fledgling MMA record at the time, and I'm looking at some fighter, I don't remember who it was, posted this and posted the meme, and I got so one of my friends tagged me in it and saw it. It was a Facebook page, and she was saying like, these are the kind of people that tell you they have a black belt in Muay Thai or something like that, something that doesn't exist. And I remember looking up her record, because I'm like, who the fuck is this? You know what I mean?
Right.
And she was like 6-10 or something. And I was like, oh, you know what I mean? Right. Wow, sweet fucking record, like, yeah. Okay. Unreal.
See, that's a great story. That in itself is a great story. So, I mean, it was worth, even bringing that up. 2 more quick questions. Again, I know you fly out on Tuesday and everything. One of your past opponents, Ciryl Gane, just fought Jon Jones. I know that's not your division anymore, but what did you make of that fight with Jon going out there and, getting it done pretty quickly?
Not my division anymore, but could be. Like, I could still fight at heavyweight. I just wanted to before. The way that Jon manhandled him was it's wild, because we all know Ciryl Gane's strength is obviously kickboxing. He's a really good striker, really good movement. But I know that I'm not a wrestling specialist either. But a couple times that we were clinched up when we fought, because my plan wasn't like, oh, I got to go in there and wrestle him. I was better off looking for a big punch. But when we did tie up, I was like, oh, okay, this guy's actually pretty fucking strong. Like sometimes people look like that and you don't know, you get a hold of them and you're like, oh, whatever. Mm-hmm. No, he physically is very, very strong. So the fact that Jones was able to just do that to him right off the bat was honestly not only surprising, but it's wild to me.
I spoke to Curtis Blades after that fight, and obviously Curtis is, near the top of that division, and he basically thinks that like Ciryl won't have enough time to kind of catch up to learn those skills to compete with those top fighters. Do you believe that, or do you think that Curtis is maybe being a little bit hard on him?
Well, with Curtis's skill set, if that were to happen to Gane again, it would be from a guy like Curtis.
Right.
Like Curtis might not go for a submission or put himself in that place. Curtis likes to just ground and pound guys, just mash them when they're on the ground. In my opinion, and I've said this for quite a while, like Ngannou has Blades' number. It happens. It's just that way. But I think that Blades is and probably has been the best heavyweight in the division for like quite a while, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, hard to disagree with that, especially with the wrestling. And just last question, you kind of sort of brought it up there. I was going to ask you, is the plan to stay at 205? I mean, going through this process and getting down, is this something you could see a future at, or do you kind of just leave the door open after this fight?
I plan to be at 205 for a while anyway. You know,
Okay.
obviously I'm on my way down to 135 is the end goal.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
I'm way too small for 205, dude. So probably like drop a weight class each time. So eventually I'm going to end up at bantamweight. I think flyweight's probably a little too far,
Right.
but bantamweight, I'm gonna go to bantamweight and kick the shit out of Dominic Cruz.
There you go.
Yeah.
I mean, they'll save money on meals, right? So you won't have to buy as much to eat.
Yeah, it's smart. It's economical. With inflation and everything, it's just the wisest thing I can
Smart
do.
move, man. Can't disagree with that. Tanner, thanks so much for doing this, especially during fight week. Anyone you want to thank before we get out of here? As always, I'll give you the last word.
Thanks, man. I already got my coaches and majority of my training partners. Sorry to anybody I forgot. My sponsors are Paul Pedal Services, PPS, and Premier Built Garages, and Element Chiropractics. So thank you to those guys.